Can everybody hear me okay? You can? Okay. Just making sure. So once Coach Maineiri gets here, we'll get started. We'll just follow the order of the chat. If you have a question, you just indicate in the chat, and we'll follow the order of responses as they appear in the chat. I can tell y'all that I do know our two midweek starting pitchers. For tomorrow's game versus Texas Southern, starter will be Javen Coleman. And for the Wednesday game at UNO, the starter will be Will Helmers. So Coleman on Tuesday and Helmers on Wednesday. Okay, I see Coach Maineiri is with us now, so we'll go ahead and get started. We'll have Coach make his opening statements, excuse me, and then if you guys just want to indicate in the chat if you have a question, and we'll follow the order from there. So Coach Maineiri. Oh. Let's see. So I'm getting him off of mute.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, got you. All right, Coach, go ahead.
Well, I don't really feel a need for an opening statement. If anybody has questions, though, they'll be happy to answer anybody's questions.
Okay, we'll go with Wilson. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Hold on. Not sure why that's happening.
There we go, I think. Okay. Paul, after, just sort of thinking about this weekend, where do you kind of want to see your team improve from here? Do you feel like you need to sort of change anything to get back on the winning track? Sort of what do you want to see over the next 5 days now?
Well, certainly there's a lot of things we need to do to improve to get back on track and be competitive in the SEC, Wilson. that's no different than every year. We're only 12 games into the season, and you learn a lot about your team as the season wears on. And I'm certainly learning a lot about our team. And there definitely will need to be some changes, but some of those changes or at least one of those changes will be to get Cade Doughty back in the lineup. I feel like, without question, had we had Cade Doughty in the lineup yesterday, I just feel strongly that he's, one of the best players, not only on our team, but in our league. And he would have done something yesterday to help us score at least another run or two. And maybe that would have made the difference in us winning that ball game yesterday. I knew runs were going to be really hard to come by yesterday because of, the wind blowing straight in. And when I looked at our lineup, I just felt that there were some parts of the lineup that were not going to be very productive for us offensively. And, you put Cade in the lineup, it just gives you a better balance throughout your lineup. And it's amazing one guy can make that much of a difference, but it just allows you to do different things. And I knew I set us up, and even with the way we had done it, but we had done it for a few straight days. But having left-handed hitters second, third, and fourth in the order, we were going up against a right-handed pitcher, and I was hopeful that by bunching those guys together, that it would give us 2 or 3 rallies during the course of the game, where that would result in 2 or 3 runs, especially when you added Cruz at the top of the order and Dugas in the 5-hole. I was hoping that combination would get us 2 or 3 rallies where we could score 2 or 3 runs. It didn't work out that way. We didn't get any rallies out of that group. And then late in the game, they were able to bring in the left-hander and pitch him against those 3 left-handers right in a row, which I knew they would do that at some point. But unfortunately, we didn't get the rallies that I was hoping for during the course of the game prior to the left-hander entering into the game. Whereas if you have Cade Doughty right there in the middle of that group, you break up those left-handers, which makes that left-hander late in the game not as effective, as far as them bringing him in. I made it very easy for their coach to bring him in at that particular time. That was an easy decision for their coach. And, had we had Cade in there, I wouldn't have had that type of situation. So that'll be one change, obviously, when he gets back into the lineup, but I'm hoping that he will be in the lineup tomorrow. He's going to work out today. In fact, he's with the trainer right now. And then in a half an hour, he's going to go down to the batting cages and start to swing. And then we're going to take him out on the field and have him swing there. And then we're going to start hitting him some ground balls and see how he does out there. And if everything goes well, then he'll be able to play tomorrow night. And once he gets back in there, I think it's going to make a big difference for us. And it may result in some position changes as well.
Okay, Ed Daniels, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hey, Paul. Early in the season, is it wrong to have the inclination to read too much into what we saw, or is just how do you approach that?
You mean the fact that we lost 2 of the 3 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little too early, Ed, to read into it. We've been playing very well. I don't know how many games we'd won in a row, like 7 games or something in a row. And we were hitting a bunch of home runs and pitching the ball extremely well. Look, this past weekend, again, 2 of our 3 starting pitchers shut out the opponent for all the time they were in the game. Landon Marceau, 6 shutout innings. How many innings did AJ Labus throw yesterday? Was it 6 as well?
Yeah.
So both starting pitchers had 6 shutout innings. That's a very positive thing. Obviously, Jaden Hill had a rough outing, but out of your weekend starting pitchers over the last 2 weekends, that's 5 out of 6 starts that were shutout starts. So that's very positive stuff. Obviously, we need to get Devin Fontenot on track. But we did have some very good relief performances, and I think getting the proper roles for those guys. Once we get out of the 5 games a week setup, we're going to be able to use guys out of the bullpen in a more defined way. But because we have so many innings to pitch, like, for example, Will Helmers, who's going to be starting on Wednesday against UNO, which will limit what he can do on the weekend. But I think Will Helmers is going to be a guy that you can bring in relief of A.J. Labus after the 5th inning and give him the ball in the 6th inning, and he might be able to give you the 6th inning, 7th inning, maybe even the 8th inning, as opposed to just trying to get a 1-inning type of thing out of him. I think the same can be said about Blake Money, which he proved that he could do. Garrett Edwards, I think, is going to continue to be a real force for us, as will Ty Floyd. But we need to get guys like Mikhail Hilliard and Devin Fontenot, the veteran guys, going for us and strengthen our bullpen a little bit more. For the most part, we've been swinging the bats really well. If you really analyze these 2 games that we lost this weekend, the first game was, you just got to call it an aberration. When is Jaden Hill going to go a third of an inning and give up 8 runs? And when is Mikhail Hilliard going to come in and give up, I don't know, what did he give up, 6 runs in a third of an inning? That was a strange game. And you just got to kind of write that game off as one of those weirdo games that happens once in a blue moon. The game on Sunday, I knew it was going to be a nip and tuck game. And South Carolina won a 1-0 game yesterday, and we were on the verge of winning a 1-0 game, and it just didn't happen. Really one tough pitch turned around the game. Will Helmers was pitching great. First, Garrett Edwards came in relief, and he threw a great inning, got a big strikeout to get out of the 7th inning. Will Helmers came in the 8th inning. He got 2 quick outs, was looking great. And then the kid got a base hit up the middle on him, and then he got ahead of the next guy, and he threw the kid at, their one big power hitter. He threw him a changeup. And if you look at the video of the pitch, it just kind of tailed back over the plate and came right into the kid. And the kid got the barrel out and hit it in the one spot of the field that it's very difficult to cover, the right field corner. And, game should have been tied with 2 outs and a runner on base. And hopefully he would have got the next hitter out. And then something crazy happened, the throw went to the backstop, and Will tried to do too much and throw the guy out of third base. And obviously we saw an errant throw and the ball went into left field. We had a chance to tie the game in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Mitchell Sanford absolutely hit a rocket. It looked like it was going to tie the ball game, and their shortstop had to have made the play of his life. Still can't believe that he made that play and kept us down. And then they tacked one on, and we weren't able to come back. If the game's 1-1 going to the bottom of the 8th, I feel confident we're going to find a way to win the game. So, the difference between winning and losing yesterday was, so small. We easily could have won that game, and then we'd be sitting back saying, boy, wasn't it great that we came from losing that lousy game on Friday and winning the series, and nobody'd be questioning, where we are right now. But that's the difference between having to answer these tough questions on Monday and instead of celebrating a good series win.
Hey, Coach. I'm also just kind of curious. I'm not sure how many players you've been able to talk to since yesterday or this morning, but just what is your general feel about how the guys are kind of responding to, I guess kind of the big first adversity for you guys to kind of overcome this season?
Well, I've actually, Glenn, only talked to one of them in my office, and that was Cade Doty a few minutes ago. And, Cade's attitude is very positive about everything, and I'm certain that it reflects the rest of the team. I got a text message late last night from Devin Fontenot, and he's not lacking in self-confidence, and he just wants to get back out on the mound and help his team win games. So, these kids will be very resilient, and I'm glad we're getting back out on the field tomorrow and playing a team again. And, I'm glad we have a 5-game week this week again, and, put this in the rearview mirror as quick as we can. And hopefully we'll get better. We're going to make a few changes with our infield this week, and hopefully this will be the magic moves that we need, and hopefully it'll get us going in the right direction overall. The tough decision I'm going to have is, when Gio's back, what we do with center field. Do we go with the offensive guy or do we go with the defensive guy? And I haven't made that decision quite yet.
Paul, you mentioned those veteran pitchers. Trip Whitmire hasn't pitched, I think, since Youngstown State. It looked like he was throwing a bullpen maybe before the game yesterday, but what's his status right now?
Yeah, Trent had a physical issue, a medical issue come up this weekend. Not related to pitching. Let me just put it that way. It was more of a medical condition that concerned us, and so we needed to take the precautionary route. And he was actually not cleared by the doctor to be ready to go until yesterday. And even though he was cleared to go yesterday, I still decided to not use him. But hopefully he'll be ready to go this week and be back out there by tomorrow. I guess that's the extent of what I would want to say about it, Wilson. It's really not anybody's business. It was just a medical condition that kind of flared up out of nowhere and kind of shocked everybody, and never had any issues before. And we were just all very concerned about it. And so, being cautious with his health was the prudent thing to do.
Hey, Coach. Coach,
what is your pitching plan for this week?
I'm sorry.
See, Jacques Doucet, go ahead.
Coach, can I ask you about Blake Dean a little bit? I don't know if we're going to get a chance to talk to you before Wednesday, because you got a Tuesday game tomorrow.
What would you like to know about Blake Dean? He was a great hitter.
Yeah, when you got here, you obviously had to overhaul the roster, but you found a cluster of guys there that you knew that you could move forward with. How did you kind of identify him as one of the guys that helped you for all that success in 08 and 09 moving forward?
Well, my first season here was 07. So I arrived here for the fall of 06, and there were 4 freshmen on that team. I did not recruit them, but they were freshmen on that team that I identified as kids that I wanted, very similar to the freshmen that we have on the team this year, that I felt had the ability and that they had the right attitude, and I felt that we could build the program around, and Blake Dean was one of them. The other 3 freshmen were Ryan Schimpf, Sean Ochinko, and Jared Mitchell. And Blake was clearly, even among those 4, was the guy that was probably the most advanced and ready to succeed as a freshman. In fact, his very first at bat against St. Mary's College from California, he hit a 3-run homer in the first inning to give us a 3-0 lead. We won the game 4-3. And, Blake led the team in hitting as a freshman, and next year we moved into not the next year, but 08, he had a tremendous season. He probably had the greatest clutch hitting stretch of any stretch that I've ever seen in terms of clutch home runs towards the back end of that 08 season. It seemed like every other game he was hitting a game-winning home run for us, walk-off home run, or grand slam against Alabama in the SEC tournament in the 8th inning to break a 6-6 tie, or walk-off home run against South Carolina. I remember the bases loaded double he hit against Southern Miss in the regional, or the hit that put us ahead against Irvine in the super regional, that frantic comeback in the elimination game. It was just amazing. And then in 09, the year we won the national championship, when we moved into the new stadium, appropriately enough, he hit the first ever home run in that brand new Alec Box Stadium. He just had a tremendous career at LSU. And, it was a privilege and an honor to be his coach. We still share an amazingly close relationship. I love Blake. He's done a tremendous job as a coach. I'm proud that when he finished his baseball career, I basically put him in a forearm lock and made him come back to school to finish his degree and help me coach the team. And it actually triggered a love of coaching for him. Not only did he earn his degree, but it kind of got him started with what he wanted to do for a career. And he helped me as an undergraduate coach. And then when Ron Maestri got back into coaching as the coach at UNO, I called up Mace and basically put Mace in a forearm lock and made him hire Blake to be his volunteer coach. And then a year later, Mace hired him as a full-time assistant. And then a year later, when Mace retired, the athletic director made Blake the head coach at a young age. I think he was only maybe 27 or 8 years old. And Blake's done a really great job with UNO, and I'm really proud of him. I root for him every game that he plays, except for, of course, when we have to play each other on the field. But it'll be good to go back over to see him on Wednesday. It'd be good to play at UNO, a place that is very near and dear to my heart. When I played there in 1978 and 79, I made my lifelong friends. My teammates are still some of my closest friends in the world. Ron Maestri is like a second father to me. And my experiences there were second to none. It was at that point in my life were the two greatest years of my life. So I always loved going back there to play, and especially with Blake there as the coach.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you.
Let's see. I think Michael Cobble had a question.
Yeah, sorry, I'm using my phone, so I can't do the chat thing. Coach, I was just curious what your rotation was going to be this week with your midweek games and setting up for the weekend.
Tomorrow night against Texas Southern, we'll pitch left-handed pitcher, freshman left-handed pitcher Javen Coleman. And then Wednesday against UNO, we'll pitch right-handed pitcher Will Helmers, freshman right-handed pitcher Will Helmers.
And you plan on the weekend staying the same, no shuffling there?
Correct, yeah. Jaden Hill, then Landon Marceau, and then AJ Labus.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to play second fiddle to Jacques Doucet there, Michael.
That's all right. It happens a lot these days.
Let's see. Ed, do you have another question?
Yes. Yeah, Coach, can you talk about a couple of things about starting Helmers in New Orleans on Wednesday? Is that something you wanted to do for him, or is that just the way you felt you had to pitch it? And two, do you miss not playing any games at Zephyr Field? Because I know you played a lot of games there in the past against different opponents, the Pontiff Classic and all of that stuff. So your thoughts on both of those things, please.
Well, let me answer them in reverse order, Ed, if it's okay with you. Yeah, I very much miss playing the games at Zephyr Field. It was something we look forward to every year. Obviously there's quite a fan base for LSU baseball in the city of New Orleans, and those fans don't often get a chance to see the LSU Tigers in person. Tickets sometimes are very hard to get here in Alex Box Stadium with as many season ticket holders as we have. And when we come to play at Tulane or come to play at UNO, I'm sure the tickets are somewhat limited there as well. So when we played at Zephyr in the Wally Pontiff Junior Classic, the tickets were available for anybody that wanted to come. And it just seemed like the folks had such a great time. They were able to have a cold one and, not get overly rowdy, you know what I mean, but have a lot of fun in the stands. And, there was a lot of interaction with the fans in the stands, and I personally just loved it and enjoyed it. It, brought me back to the days that I lived in New Orleans and just being around fun-loving people. And I just love the city. I know I married a girl from New Orleans, and it's our favorite city in the whole world, next to Baton Rouge, I guess now. But when the stadium, I always call them the Zephyrs, but the Baby Cakes moved out and the stadium was not kept up. We were still supposed to go there the next year to play Tulane in the Wally Pontiff Classic game, and Travis Jewett, the coach from Tulane, was towards the end of the last season of the Baby Cakes, went out to throw out the first pitch of a game, and he called me the next day, and he was telling me that the field was already pretty much not being kept up to standards. And he really questioned whether or not we'd be able by the following spring, the next year, what the condition of the field was going to be like for us to be able to play. And he was very concerned about it. And so was I, because of his concern. And I'd already started to think about it myself. We both decided that it probably wasn't going to be the thing to do, because without them having a tenant there. And I heard they were going to be playing rugby games and everything else out there on the field, that it probably wasn't going to be a safe conditions to put our players into. So we decided to move the Wally Pontiff game to Alec Box Stadium. And then, of course, the game was never played because of the pandemic kicking in and the season being canceled and so forth. But yeah, it's we had played there every year since I had become the coach, 14 years ago. And it's kind of a void, to be honest with you. It's something I always look forward to, and hate the fact that we don't get to come to New Orleans and play there. And it's an experience that I feel bad that our players are missing out on, and it's an experience that I feel bad that I personally am missing out on. And I feel bad mostly for the fans that got to come to the game and enjoyed the experience itself. As far as Will Helmers goes, Will pitched so well last week in a start against Southern, and we're trying to get Will a couple of starts before the SEC season kicks in. Not 100% sure that we're going to move him to the bullpen when the SEC schedule starts, but leaning in that direction. So we just want to get him some innings, and just felt that this was, he was either going to start the Texas Southern game or the UNO game. And, after the rough start that Javen Coleman had, we just felt that the proper thing was to start him on Tuesday against Texas Southern and go with Will on Wednesday. The fact that it's back in the town that he pitched so magnificently for, Jesuit High School, is kind of an added bonus. I'm sure he'll be pretty fired up and excited about that experience. And but I'm sure, after, the way this game ended yesterday for him, he just is going to be excited about getting back on the mound and getting back out there trying to help his team win, and kind of be able to put the experience of yesterday in the rearview mirror for himself.
Okay, we'll go to Wilson one more time.
Paul, can you say anything else about the lineup changes, or not lineup changes, excuse me, infield changes that might be coming, or you're going to kind of hold that to yourself until you have a chance to talk to all of them?
Yeah, I want to work some guys out first and make sure that we're going to do it, and I want to talk to the guys first, Wilson. So don't like to keep secrets from you, but just want to, I like the players to hear things from me first. I'm sure you understand that.
Okay, anyone else? All right, thank you very much, Coach Maineiri.
Okay, guys, good to be with y'all.
Thank you, Paul.